Hello everybody, this is Omega Shenron with another video here. I think it works better like this. Hard to get both of these books in there, but we're going to talk about both of them. And so this video is kind of a response to this new Doctor Doom book. Thank you to your boy Stacks, or the real comic Stacks, for reviewing that book. I was gonna buy it because I am actually a Doctor Doom fan, even though he's kind of a Earthbound guy, but I dabble in a little bit of the Avengers lore, and he's a really cool villain. So they put out a new Doctor Doom book, and it's terrible. So they're trying to, so Stark and the Earth heroes are trying to get rid of the CO2 emissions. It's just like, what the fuck are these people thinking? Like, I mean, if it was a character, if it was like a human thing, but the MCU, it really is. It's not about the humans. I mean, maybe a few of the characters, it's about you know earthly dealings, but more often than not, these are superhumans. They're not humans. So, like, I just don't understand how they don't get that we don't want these. Comics is escapism. And if you want comics or media, cartoons, things like that that are closer to reality and not based on unearthly things like superheroes. The most famous superhero of all, Superman, he's not human. Most of the great characters I like, they're not human. None of them, think any of them except for Drax, but I mean he was a human who was resurrected by Kronos and turned into something else, something completely not of this earth. And so it really bothers me when they try to throw in these modern political issues. Climate change is and that kind of stuff. It's a political issue. I agree that pollution is bad. I mean, I don't know anybody who is against having clean air and clean water, and things like that. It doesn't. You have to be insane to think that we can just go on endlessly polluting without some consequences. But that's beside the point. We don't want this shit in our books. And so it really just triggered me that they're doing this with such a cool character, because I was actually kind of looking forward to this book. Um, you know, it's like I just don't get it, and it's exciting too because this guy, I forget his name now. I'm gonna forget it forever after this, but um, he directed TV shows, from what I understand. And so people are like, "Oh, this might be cool. And maybe he writes a cool comic book." And it's an emphatic no. So I'm really glad I didn't buy the book. Thanks again to Comic Stacks for the review. So save me $5 and a book I don't want in my fucking collection. But Doctor Doom's a really awesome character, and there's some really great stories with him. Of course, he's a Fantastic Four villain, and some of his more core stories are from Fantastic Four, but he's got a few that kind of intertwine with the cosmic realm that I really like, and that's how I've gotten to know him. Really, I've read some Fantastic Four, and I know the basic, Latveria and all this stuff. It's pretty cool. He's in Hickman's Fantastic Four run. He plays a big part, and I forget, his daughter is hanging out with Doctor Doom. It's pretty cool. So definitely read that. And there's some cool stories like Infinity War. Here, we'll do the end first. If you haven't read this story, you're doing comics wrong. If you haven't read this story, look at the art. It's Al Milgrom, bro. did you ever think Al Milgrom was this good? When he really wants to do good work, he does just amazing work. And if you don't know who Al Milgrom is, you're doing it wrong. This was a story. Um, it's centered around Thanos and this guy who's like an Egyptian pharaoh from the past, and like he was given some celestial powers by some aliens, and basically everybody's trying to stop him, namely Thanos and Galactus. And here's a cool part where Doctor Doom's in the midst of this, trying to usurp this guy's power. Of course, eventually Thanos is the guy who wins the battle and usurps his power and becomes omnipotent for a while. So he becomes eternity, and it's another one of these nihilistic, just like the scales of the battle are so huge, and like just the stakes, the things that are at risk in these cosmic kind of sagas is really what entices me about the books. So this is a great Thanos story, but Doctor Doom's in it too, and there's he's always got something witty to say. He's always got a trick up his sleeve. He's always got an escape plan. He's always scheming, a lot like Thanos. If you liked what Hickman did with Secret Wars, which was okay, I don't like the power scaling, making Doctor Doom, nigh invincible at one point. I like it when they try to keep the character within his, unless some kind of merging or something happens where they become something new. I really like the power scaling to remain, within a certain range and not get to, beyond or celestial levels. So I thought the story was cool, especially the part about all the Black Swans and all the, brain dead dooms that the Reeds, the Council of the Reeds had, and all this stuff. And it's a really cool story. So you should read that if you like Doctor Doom. And this is also a pretty cool story. This is the prequel or the sequel to Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, and this is just fucking awesome. It's Jim Starlin, Ron Lim art. I mean, you just really can't get any better. It's only 6 issues. It's from start to finish. He tells a story. He gives us a battle. He gives us an ending, and it's done in 6 issues. It's just like, fuck, man. Why can't they do this anymore? Why can't they do it? They have to span a saga over, months and months and months and months, over several, crossovers. No, just give us 6 books and make an amazing story. Give us, good art like this. And, these were so dope. They had, actually have a couple of these out of the cover, these were so dope. They were these big fold-out covers. It's just all the art you want, It's just like, man, they're just going beyond what you would expect in a comic, and it's just great art, traditional. I don't know how most people feel about Ron Lim. I think he's my favorite as far as traditional. There's some new guys who who are good and great and doing amazing stuff. I think Michael Turner is one of the best ever as well. But Ron Lim, I don't know, Bob Layton, Barry Windsor Smith, these guys are really just legends. So, I mean, look at this covers. These covers are so awesome. And this story was cool because, you get to see Thanos kind of be an altruistic good guy in this, including Galactus. Galactus is helping out. But look at this cover. I mean, it's just beautiful. Look, they're gonna crucify Adam Warlock. Like the stakes couldn't be higher. You know, look at this. It's so beautiful. There, Gamora's in it. She plays a role. Like, you know, all these stories were just so fucking good, and it just breaks my heart to see what they do with some of these characters when they have so much potential and so much, you know, content material to play with. If you don't know who this is Adam Warlock's alter ego, the Magus, and he gains control of the Infinity Gauntlet momentarily. But you know, this was just such a fucking great story. You know, everything you could want in a story. Great art, great storytelling, start to finish, 6 issues, and done. And done. No crossovers, no variant covers, just just good comics. And you know, that's the criticism. They can't do it anymore. They're pandering too much, they're scheming too much, you know, and they don't care about the stores. And that's my biggest concern, you know, is when they do stuff like that, it causes me to buy less comics. And you know, I will probably buy more back issues with that money. So you know, I guess it kind of levels out. But you know, I've noticed I am buying less comics. You know, my buying is my current reading: Silver Surfer, Guardians of the Galaxy, the new Ghost Rider. I'm giving it a shot. And X Men has ended, so I'm not. I didn't sign up for any of those books. I'm just gonna see if there's any buzz about it, and if there is, I'll try to pick up one of the books, maybe New Mutants or whatever book, Dawn of X, whatever book Hickman might be doing. I might check it out. But it just makes me mad. You know, you have such a cool character in Doctor Doom. You know, he's versatile, he's smart, he is powerful. And then they throw in stuff that has nothing to do with him. And it was a bad idea. What they were going to do was create some machine to suck all the CO2 and then siphon it off into a black hole off the side of the moon. And they weren't sure it was going to fucking work. Like, oh yeah, instead of, you know, instead of, you know, fuck. I don't want to go into it. It was just a badly written book with a political message. The comic readers, we don't want that shit. You know, maybe 4 or 5% of comic readers want these earthly tropes in their books, but I'm telling you, 99% of us don't. We just don't want your shit in our books. We read this because it's not earthly, because it's got nothing to do with society, politics, and religion, and all the shit we're trying to get away from when we read these books. All the shit we want to just get rid of and live without for a little while, they're throwing them in our faces. And it's insulting, and it's aggravating, and I hate it. And I promise you, if they keep doing this, comics will fail, and it'll turn into something else. You know, maybe that's what it needs to happen. But if you like Doctor Doom, go out, read this story, The End, and Infinity War. If you haven't read this story, you're doing it wrong. I mean, unless you're like a DC reader or you don't read any Marvel stuff. If you're a Marvel reader and you haven't read this story, you're doing it wrong. So go out, check this. I mean, you could probably get them at Dollar Bin. These books, you know, this is the '90s craze. This was mass produced, so they're very easy to find. You know, I have several copies of them just because they're in the Dollar Bin all the time. So go out, read this story, and I hope you enjoy my thoughts. And have a good day.